Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a seriously fascinating look at a socio-technical framework that bridges a pretty huge gap. The gap between deep, mind-expanding philosophy and the everyday tech sitting right there on your desk. Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to explore exactly how to use incredibly accessible tools to completely elevate human consciousness and connection in the digital space. To really grasp our goal today, we've got to start with the why. Nobel laureate and physical chemist Ilya Prigozhin famously stated that small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the power to lift the entire system to a higher order. Applied sociologically, well, this means that even a tiny, highly connected, super-intentional group of people can serve as a catalyst to elevate society at large. It's powerful stuff. And we are going to be building those exact digital islands today.
So here is our roadmap. We'll kick things off with islands of coherence, move right into building the digital commons, look at cultivating collective intelligence, explore nonlinear connection, and finally wrap up with continuous flow.
Section 1, Islands of Coherence. Now, before we get into the apps and the tools, we have to ground ourselves in the philosophical theory. We need to know the destination before we start building the vehicle, right?
And that destination is integral consciousness, a brilliant term coined by cultural philosopher Jean Gebser. Think of this as a transparent, holistic state of awareness that actually transcends linear time, moving us toward what he called an ever-present origin. Basically, we're trying to break completely free from our rigid, standard ways of thinking and tap into something much, much more holistic.
And this brilliantly illustrates the conceptual paradigm shift we're really aiming for here. On one side, we have the mental, rational state. This is, where most of our modern corporate lives exist. Linear, fragmented, and just trapped in endless data silos. But on the other side is the integral state, transparent, fluid, and interconnected. The goal? Escaping the left and building the right.
To make this massive leap, we're going to use a 5-step framework called the Integral Archipelago. And the crazy part, we're leveraging the standard Google ecosystem to do it. We'll cover infrastructure, onboarding, intelligence, connection, and flow, all structured to mirror nonlinear time.
Section 2. Building the digital commons. Now that we have the philosophy down, let's actually start laying the technological bricks. Step 1 focuses on infrastructure, using Google Sites as the nexus. But hold on, this isn't your standard static website. Oh no, it's a nonlinear digital commons. Through a transparency layer, like embedding live Google Sheets and Open Meet links, every bit of activity is visible in real time. It also serves as a central repository, making the foundational theory of Gebser and Prigozhin totally transparent and available to every single member of your community.
Step 2 is formation and onboarding. We take an everyday app like Google Forms, but instead of collecting basic, boring data, we deploy resonance surveys. These are designed for deep philosophical inquiry. We're moving people way beyond mere interest and finding genuine resonance. Then, we feed that data straight into Google Sheets. By using the Geocode add-on, we create a living map that actually visualizes these individual islands, showing your entire archipelago growing in real time. It's really cool to watch.
For example, consider a resonance survey question like, how do you experience time in moments of flow? Notice how a question like that instantly challenges the linear mind. We aren't asking for a job title or a department, we're asking them to reflect on their own reality. It sets an entirely different tone for the community right from the very start.
Section 3, Cultivating Collective Intelligence. This is where our transition into integral consciousness really starts to accelerate by tapping into AI.
In Step 3, we use Notebook LM as the shared brain. Just imagine tossing really heavy text from Gebser and Prigozhin into a shared notebook where your whole group can interrogate the material collectively. Then, we bring in Gemini as a synthesizer during meetings. You can feed it the transcript of your Google Meet, and Gemini acts almost like a dialogue partner, pointing out the emergent coherence that us human participants might completely miss in the heat of the moment.
So, the crucial point is that this collective AI usage perfectly mimics Gebser's exact definition of the integral state. By using Notebook LM and Gemini to synthesize text and dialogue, we are quite literally seeing through the layers of history and consciousness simultaneously. The technology isn't just a tool, it becomes an active participant in expanding our awareness.
Section 4. Nonlinear synchronous connection. Because if Gebserian consciousness is nonlinear, our meetings absolutely must be nonlinear too.
Step 4 completely defies the standard linear slide deck because, honestly, nothing keeps us trapped in the mental rational state quite like death by PowerPoint, right? Instead, we use Google Slides as a shared digital canvas. Everyone contributes simultaneously. People are dropping in words, shapes, and images to create a rich, multidimensional collage that accurately and holistically represents the topic at hand.
And here is a surprising yet absolutely brilliant technique, the silent meet. Before anyone speaks a single word on the video call, you spend 10 minutes in a focused, written dialogue in the chat. This silence is magical. It allows the deeper, magic, and mythic layers of consciousness to surface before our highly structured mental layer takes over the spoken conversation. It completely shifts the entire dynamic of the gathering.
Section 5, the power of transparency. Because reaching an elevated consciousness during a meeting is great, but how do we actually maintain this flow in our busy daily lives?
Well, step 5 is all about continuous flow. We use Gmail as the pulse. By scheduling automated emails, we send out coherence prompts. These are short, daily reminders or deep questions that disrupt your linear routine and force you to foster awareness of the integral state throughout your day. Alongside this, we use Google Keep as the spark. We encourage members to quickly capture sudden aha moments on their phones and instantly share those synchronicities with their local island.
Now, what's really interesting about this whole concept is the juxtaposition. Think about it. We are dealing with incredibly heavy philosophy, quite literally lifting the human system to a higher order, yet the tools we're using to do this are astonishingly accessible. We're talking inexpensive Chromebooks and everyday Google apps that you probably have open in another tab right now.
And the choice of hardware itself is actually a profound philosophical metaphor. A Chromebook is what's known in the computing world as a thin client. It doesn't store massive amounts of localized, fragmented data in silos on a hard drive. Instead, the device serves purely as a transparent window into the cloud, into the collective. It physically represents the exact transparency and holistic connection that Gene Gebser valued so highly in his vision of integral consciousness.
So let's summarize the core takeaway here. We are aligning our tech layer directly with our integral enactment. The infrastructure gives us a transparent digital commons, the hardware provides a thin client window, and our communication forces a nonlinear shared canvas. We aren't just sitting around talking about integral consciousness, we are actively enacting it through this beautifully interconnected tech structure. Which leaves us with this final vital question. How will you use your everyday tools to spark an island of coherence? You have the theory, and you have the accessible technology sitting right at your fingertips. It's time to step out of the linear, fragmented routine and start building your own archipelago. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it leaves you inspired to look at your digital workspace in a completely profound new light. Keep learning, keep connecting, and I'll see you next time.